Melissa Jefferson Wooden already wore the 100 meters gold at Tokyo 2025. Most athletes would call it a day. Not her. She stepped back onto that track for the 200 meters final. She lined up beside the powerhouse who had owned this race for 2 straight years. Shericka Jackson, the one rival nobody thought Melissa could actually take down when it mattered most. That night, the track world realized how wrong it was. Earlier in 2025, Melissa told her coaches something that stopped them cold. She was taking the 200 meters seriously this year. Not just competing, she wanted to win. Her coaches shared a look. One nearly laughed. To them, she was always just the 100 meters girl. Fast off the blocks, explosive, and dangerous in short sprints. But the 200 was a whole different world. It demands something else: curve, control, patience, and staying smooth as legs burn in those final 30 meters. And standing in that world was Shericka Jackson, a woman who had clocked more top 10 times than any sprinter in the history of the sport. When Melissa claimed she would win the 200 meters at the World Championships, nobody outside her camp truly believed her. That lack of belief became her fuel. Proof started showing up early in the season. At Grand Slam track in May, Melissa ran 21.99 seconds. That shattered the 22-second barrier for the first time. More importantly, she beat the reigning Olympic champ, Gabby Thomas, in that very race. Commentators replayed it. Thomas was supposed to catch her. That is what Thomas does. She is a closer, one of the best in the world. But Melissa built a massive lead on the curve. By the time Thomas started charging, there was way too much ground to make up. At the U.S. National Championships, Melissa ran 21.84 seconds, punching her ticket to Tokyo in both sprint events. Nobody called her the favorite. To them, this was Shericka Jackson's title to lose, with Gabby Thomas as the only real challenger. Melissa had other plans, and here is where this story gets even bigger. Shericka Jackson had not just won the 200 meters in Budapest, she had completely dominated the field. She was back in Tokyo to defend that gold. She brought a record that silences a crowd. She had run more top 10 200-meter times than any woman in history. Not just any woman alive, but any woman in the history of the sport. Jackson was more than a champion. She was the standard. She settled into lane 7 for the final at the Tokyo National Stadium. Melissa was in lane 6, right beside her. The last American woman to win 200-meter gold was Allyson Felix. That was 2009. 16 years of drought, 16 years of coming close, but coming home without the gold. That number tells you everything about the stakes when the gun fired. She attacked that curve like she refused to wait. Most sprinters ease through the first 100 meters of the race. Melissa did not ease one bit. She pushed from the moment her spikes left the blocks, driving hard through the bend and building massive speed for the home stretch. By the time she hit the home straight, she already had the lead. Once she got to the front, she was almost impossible to catch. Dina Asher-Smith, the 2019 world champ, was running strong on the outside. Jackson was chasing from lane 7, but Melissa kept pulling away. She crossed in 21.66 seconds. That time needs to sit for a second. It was one of the fastest 200-meter sprints ever seen at a world championship. The winning margin was nearly half a second. In sprinting, half a second is not even a close race. Half a second is a statement. Jackson crossed in third for bronze. Her run as champion ended right there in Tokyo. 23-year-old Amy Hunt of Great Britain took the silver. A huge breakthrough moment for British sprinting. But the night belonged to one name only. And here is the part that should not get buried. Jackson ran well. This was no collapse. She showed up like a champion and competed like one. That is exactly why Melissa's win means so much. She did not win because Jackson had an off night. She won because she was simply better. She became the first American woman to win both the 100 and 200 at a single world championship. Not the first in a decade. Not the first since Felix. The first ever. Only 3 other women in history had managed the sprint double at the Worlds. The last one was Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce way back in 2013. Afterward, Melissa said being the first American to do something even Allyson Felix never did, the woman she grew up dreaming about, did not feel real to her. But she had worked way too hard for it to be a surprise. She arrived as the underdog in the 200 and left as a double world champion, the fourth fastest woman in history at 100 meters, and the first American to own both sprint events in one championship. On April 18, 2026, at a Florida college meet, two women ran a relay in 41.70 seconds. Paris gold was 41.78. They beat Olympic gold at a college invitational in April, before the Diamond League, before Worlds. That world record of 48.2 has stood since 2012. Events in Gainesville suggest a massive shift. Sha'Carri Richardson is now 26 years old. Growing up in Dallas, she was raised by her grandmother after her mom left. Nothing in her life was ever handed to her. She rocked acrylic nails on the track despite critics saying she couldn't compete that way. She did it anyway and kept winning. During the 2021 Olympic trials, her grandmother died. Days later, a positive test for cannabis removed her from the team. She served her full suspension without a single excuse. Most athletes simply disappear after a blow like that. But she returned as a triple world champion. She took gold in Budapest 2023 and anchored the American relay to gold in Tokyo 2025. Then came 2024. At the Paris Olympics, she missed the podium in the individual 100 meters. The athlete meant to be the face of American sprinting watched someone else take the Olympic gold. That loss haunted her through 2025, where she finished a disappointing fifth at the World Championships in Tokyo. She was running nowhere near her full potential, but she did not disappear. In early 2026, she flew to Australia for a grass race called the Stall Gift. She started from scratch, with every other runner placed ahead of her. She won. She banked $40,000. She called it a warm-up. Her words for this season were clear. The mindset she is bringing is total domination. Dominating the race, dominating the competition, dominating the entire world. Then she hit Florida and anchored a relay faster than Olympic gold. This is the part that should terrify every competitor. Sha'Carri Richardson has never won Olympic gold. The Los Angeles Games are on home soil, just 2 years away. She is hitting Olympic speeds in April. That is not just motivation. That is a clear threat. Melissa Jefferson Wooden is 25. She grew up in a tiny South Carolina coastal town of 8,000 people. Before winning major medals, she was just a teenager who donated her own stem cells to save her father. He was battling a rare blood disease. She gave part of herself to keep him alive. This was all before the world knew her. She started at Coastal Carolina University with no idea she would become the best sprinter alive. 5 years later, she stood in Tokyo as a triple world champion. At the 2025 World Championships in Tokyo, Jefferson Wooden did something only one woman in history ever achieved. She swept the 100, the 200, and the 4x100-meter relay at the same championship. Only Shelley Ann Fraser-Price had done that before, back in 2013. Her winning time of 10.61 set a record by the largest margin in history. She is now the fourth fastest woman to ever run it. She already has her sights on Flo Jo's world record of 10.49, a mark untouched since 1988. She is only 12 hundredths of a second away from a record that has survived 38 years. Remember that number 12? When Jefferson Wooden ran the opening leg of that 41.70 relay, she was not fully stretched out yet. That was just an April tune-up on a college track, and she still helped produce the fastest early-season relay time in the history of the sport. The Tom Jones Memorial Invitational is hosted by the University of Florida at the Percy Beard Track in Gainesville. Pro athletes enter the Olympic development category to build their early-season fitness and speed. Both Richardson and Jefferson Wooden had already pulled out of the individual 200-meter races that weekend. The relay was their only event. Nobody saw it coming. Jefferson Wooden ran the opening leg with pure power. Anavia Battle took the second leg and held onto every single tenth of a second. Kayla White crushed the third leg, putting Richardson in front with nothing but open track. Richardson tore through the final 40 meters without ever slowing down. The clock stopped at 41.70. Second place was way back at 42.42. That is a massive gap for a meet in early April. Expert Alan's Juck, who has tracked relays since 1972, called it the fastest pre-May time ever. But Julian Alfred gives this story its edge. She is the reigning Olympic champion. At the Paris 2024 Games, she took gold in the 100, beating both Shaw Carey Richardson and Melissa Jefferson Wooden. She runs 10.7 regularly. In Tokyo 2025, she took bronze before an injury cut her season short. She has been training quietly through the 2026 indoor season. She hasn't said much to the press. But here is the problem. Shaw Carey Richardson is running relay anchors at Olympic gold medal pace in the month of April. Melissa Jefferson Wooden is .12 away from the oldest world record in track. Those are not the stats of athletes warming up. Those are the stats of athletes who have already arrived. The woman who beat them in Paris now has to prove she can match this heat when the real races begin. The clock is ticking on that answer. The Penn relays are right around the corner. Up next, the Diamond League. Then, the 2027 World Championships in Beijing take center stage. Looking ahead, the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics wait just 2 years away on home soil with American fans. A 17-year-old kid from Texas just took gold at the World Indoor Championships in the 800 meters. Not junior, not regional. The real world title. He just smoked every professional runner on the planet. While those pros trained for this as a full-time job, Cooper Lutkenhouse was literally on spring break. Cooper was born December 19, 2008, near Dallas. His dad, George, was a state runner-up in the 1600. His brother Andrew ran 150 in the 800 and took third at Nike Outdoor Nationals in 2023. Speed was in the family blood, but nobody had ever done anything close to what Cooper was about to pull off. Freshman year told the story early. Cooper went completely undefeated in the 800-meter race. He swept 3 national meets and a Texas state title, clocking 47.33 in the 400 at 15. That blend of raw speed and endurance is rare. At 15, it was practically unheard of. He then shattered the American freshman record with a 147.58 at the Brooks PR Invitational. Every coach in the country started calling, but freshman year was just the warm-up. Sophomore year, June 2025. Michael Granville had owned the American high school record in the 800 since 1996. 29 years. Every elite high school runner in America had tried to take it down. Cooper ran 146.26 at Brooks and erased it. 2 weeks later, he pushed it to 145.45. Then came the 2025 USA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Cooper was a 16-year-old student racing seasoned pros. In the semis, he stumbled at the 400-meter mark. Most runners lose it there. Cooper recovered, took second in 145.57, and became the youngest finalist ever. The final came down to Cooper and world champion Donovan Brazier. Cooper took second in 142.27, shattering the world under 18 record by over a second. The old record was 143.37. Cooper closed in 12.48 seconds, flying past Brandon Miller, Josh Hoey, and his childhood hero Bryce Hoppel. At 16, only 3 Americans in history had ever run faster. Then, Nike called. In August 2025, Cooper signed a pro deal, becoming the first American male middle-distance runner to turn pro while in high school. He stayed in school, training with coach Chris Capo at Northwest High School in Justin, Texas. Remember that time, 140.2.27, because what happens next makes it look small. Tokyo 2025. This was supposed to be the big moment. Cooper arrived as the youngest American to ever compete at the World Championships. He was eliminated in round 1, 7th in his heat. It was over. Most people missed the reason why. By the time he hit Tokyo, he had been racing for 17 straight months. From cross-country to indoor to outdoor, then straight to Worlds. His body was completely empty. He went home to Texas to break down every single mistake with Coach Capo. The 2026 indoor season was different. On January 24th, he ran 145.23, shattering the U.S. under-18 indoor record. That record belonged to Donovan Brazier, the man who beat him months earlier. Then came February 1st at the Millrose Games. Cooper clocked 114.5 in the 600 for a world under 20 record. 2 weeks later, another record in the 800. On March 1st, he won the national title with a 146.68 at the Indoor Championships. He hadn't lost a race since Tokyo. Not one. Now, Torun, Poland. The World Indoor Championships. Cooper was seeded third. The favorite was Elliot Creston of Belgium, a veteran with 3 straight world podiums who ran 143.83 just last month. That time ranks among the top 5 performances in indoor history. The semifinal was a warning shot to every runner in the building. Cooper won his heat in 144.29, the fastest time here since Wilson Kipketer back in '97. Cooper crossed the line coasting while others fought to qualify. In the final, he started in 4th and stayed calm. At the 500, he moved to Creston's shoulder and pushed ahead. Not at the bell, not in the stretch, right in the middle of it. Creston fought hard at the bell, but Cooper held that gap to the finish. Lachlan Kennedy beat him twice. Same track, same result, and the whole of Australia was watching it unfold both times. Before the second race, Gout walked up to the mic and said 3 words that revealed his true character. "I'm out for revenge." That was it. No speech, no long interview, just 6 syllables carrying a year of pain and obsession. This is the story of those words and whether they were enough. Gout was born on December 29th, 2007 in Ipswich, Queensland, Australia. At 18, he already holds the Australian national record for the 200 meters at 20.02 seconds. To grasp how insane this is, you have to see the history. Peter Norman set the old record at 20.06 seconds way back at the 1968 Olympics. That record stood for 56 years. Then, in December 2024, a 16-year-old in Brisbane clocked 20.04 seconds at the championships and completely shattered it. Just like that. Finished. 56 years of history wiped out by a kid who hadn't even graduated high school yet. That sprint made Gout faster than Usain Bolt at the exact same age. At 16, Bolt's best was 20.13. Gout ran 20.04. Bolt himself even commented on Instagram, saying the kid looks just like a young version of him. The entire track world stopped. Who is this kid? By June 2025, Gout had already pushed his record even further.